Hi, it's Phil Kerner, the Tool and Die Guy, and welcome to this special edition of the Journeyman. You know, the first 3 episodes I did was they were phone interviews, and this time I had the opportunity to go visit another journeyman physically and get some video. So this is a special edition because the young man, not quite so young anymore, was actually my first apprentice, my first employee back in 1991, and his name is Scott Whitman. And Scott owns a company called South Creek Tool out in the middle of the country here, a town called Northeast Pennsylvania. So today we're going to take a ride out. For those of you who've always wanted to start your own shop and wonder how you can do it, Scott's a great story. He runs it all by himself, connected to his house. Beautiful small shop, builds injection molds and a little bit of everything else, but mostly injection molds. So let's take a ride out in the country and visit Scott Whitman at South Creek Tool. Get started with that. So Scott, you were my apprentice many years ago, and here you are now owning a shop. And one of the big questions, I know a lot of guys that follow me online, they want to start their own shops too. So you did it. How long ago did you start?
Back in 2000.
2000
was when I originally started.
Okay.
And just started one machine, just a Bridgeport, kind of doing some overflow work for shops, and the Bridgeport turned into a couple of grinders, and that turned into an EDM. And
where'd you find a place to work out of?
Just out of my garage at home.
Okay, you had enough power there?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what you can run off just a couple hundred amps.
Okay.
With a rotary phase converter or a static phase converter.
Okay, so you're out there in the garage, Bridgeport, grinder.
Yep.
You still working your full-time job too?
Yep. Yeah. I always kept the full-time job, and until I got a good customer base that I thought, and then finally had enough of the full-time thing and just went out on my own.
How long? What year was that?
Went out on my own back in 2008.
2008. So about 8 years part-time then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, 8 years part-time. I really didn't buy any new equipment. Everything was auctions. You know, there was a lot of times, you know, I basically didn't make any money. You know, it was going to work, paid the bills, and all the side work I did was to just invest in more equipment. So it's not like you're getting rich overnight kind of thing. So
this building you're in now, when did you move into here?
2008.
2008.
Yep.
Okay. So you come in here, and we were talking earlier. It's really clean in here, but it's tight.
Yeah.
It's tight.
Yeah.
And you know, what most people don't realize is that when you're dealing with the injection mold business, the stuff weighs a lot.
Yeah.
So you've had to kind of learn how to jury rig your stuff in and out. With you told me earlier, sometimes you even use your tractor down here.
Yeah. I mean, I have a big hill for my driveway going from the shop to the road, and the hill's, you know, pretty steep. There's no trucks backing in, so yeah, I just use a John Deere tractor with forks on it, and then that's how I go up and unload trucks, and so works good.
So basically on your own now since 2008, 11 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever get burnt? Like have somebody go bankrupt or get stuck bad, or pretty good luck with that?
Yeah. There was one guy I built on the 4th mold. He kind of stiffed me for that. So I kind of learned how to pursue getting your money out of somebody.
Did you get it?
So it took. You just go down to the district justice in your town and file the proper paperwork and. Just pretty much just stayed on them, and finally I actually had to go down to Philadelphia and repossess the mold with a sheriff by my side, and I told the guy either pay up or it's going to the scrapyard. So he paid up.
How much?
It was like $8,000.
About $8,000?
Yeah. And I tried to work with him. I said, just, you can make payments, whatever you can do, and that would suffice for a couple months, and then all of a sudden wouldn't get anything for a few months. So tried to be as nice as I could. But
what was the biggest surprise? Now you've been doing this for a while, and there's a young guy watching this right now that wants to learn. And what's the biggest surprise about owning your own place? A lot of them.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, there's surprises all the time. Pretty much. Wouldn't really say.
You know what? I think we might be backwards on this. I'm going to help you out here. That's probably why it was a little dim. I hope we don't have to start over. It was facing down. That was what the issue was. I'll cut this out. Don't worry, we won't look too gay on it. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
That should be much better. All right.
Yeah, as far as surprises go, just I guess how much work you can get just for one person.
Right.
I mean, I got to the point where I wouldn't turn any job away, really, no matter what it was, because you never knew when the next jobs were coming. But eventually, you're just so buried with work that you really get to spend a lot of time with your family, and
right.
You're out in the shop from 6, 7 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. And
you're attached right to your house here.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah. My house is right here, so
you can come out in your pajamas, coffee, and reset an electrode if you have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of times. It depends what I have going on, but I mean, I can go in and have dinner. Dinner with the wife and kids, and the kids can come out and see me if they need something. Or
no, when you look at you got the Bridgeport back there in the corner, and you said you barely use it anymore because you don't have to use it.
Yeah.
Right? And,
yeah.
You look at the equipment you've put in here now since 2000, because I'm sure some of the stuff you brought with you, right? I'm sure that was in your original Bridgeport.
Yeah.
What do you think you've invested? Do you have a rough idea what you put in to get this place put together? If you had to take a guess.
Yeah, I mean, probably an easy 2.
I was going to say about 3.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean 200 when you just look at machines and I can put numbers on, but there's so much
the rigging,
small stuff that you don't see. Like I have the one cabinet over there has all my Aroa tooling and grinding stuff, and I mean you get a Herman Schmidt magnets, $1,000, a Herman Schmidt sign plates, almost $2,000. You start adding that stuff up, you can look in that cabinet and rack up $15,000 or something real fast. And yeah, I mean, if you would have had to buy it new, oh my gosh, it would have been $1 million or something
you've
crazy.
You've become quite good at auctions.
Yeah, I mean,
not as many as there used to be.
No. I hit it, in the heyday when during the recession when everything was kind of going bad and there was a lot of auctions, and luckily I was fortunate enough to be doing okay that I could go to these auctions and buy equipment, and just kind of look for good deals and don't get too ahead of myself buying stuff either, just.
Well, that's the problem, because when you and I love tools.
Oh yeah.
You go to an auction, you see these beautiful grinding vices, and you don't need them, but you want them. Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you want them.
You have to really put your number on it, and this is what I'm spending today. Right?
Yeah, or just go after the key items that you really need.
Right.
It's like a lot of my philosophy has been do the most with what you can. Not have every machine and every little tool and everything you can get your hands on, but really be able to utilize what you have available to you.
Now, I think you're at a spot here where a lot of young guys would like to be, running their own shop, close to their house, let alone attached to their house, but controlled environment, nice customer base, making a living, Nice, clean, dry building, nice and well lit place.
Air conditioned.
Air conditioned. There you go.
Need that in the summer.
I got to ask you though. You're mostly by yourself. It looks like you said, you got a little subcontractor working for you now for the first time ever.
Yeah, first time ever after all this.
How do you get away? How do you get a vacation? How do you go somewhere for
you don't.
2 weeks?
You don't.
What's the longest vacation you've ever taken?
A couple days, a weekend. Yeah.
They still got the camper out there.
Yep. Yeah, I just bought that this year because my kids are getting a little bit older and they want to go dirt bike riding and stuff. So that was one of the things I'm trying to do with getting some help. Try to get away a little bit more with the kids. I'm 45 now, so and the kids are 8 and 9.
Are you a millionaire yet?
What's that?
Are you a millionaire yet?
Hell no. Not even close. Not even close. I'm still on the negative side. I owe more. Well, I don't know. I own quite a bit too, but yeah, I'm not rolling in it. That's for sure.
I get it. I had to give you a hard time.
No, not even close.
Just to clarify here, you were my first employee.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that was in 1991. I hired this guy in about September of '91, I believe, because I had just started.
Yeah, I was still at the tech school.
This guy saw our shop go from basically a one-man shop to a two-man shop, and when you left, we had 35 or 40 guys, didn't we? We were over in the new building.
Yep.
Okay. So I think, and you can say whatever you want, because I told Dick Forbes, anybody I interview, what was it like? Because I forget, I was so busy. Tell people about what it was like to work for me at Colonel Tool and Die, and what it was like just starting out. And what did you learn? No,
it was so much fun. It was. I remember in the beginning, it's like I'm going to the tech school. I know a little bit of milling and lathe, and
well, you won an award though. You were an outstanding tech school student.
I got second at the one competition to go to states, and that was my junior year. So that's even before I was a senior. So I did okay there. And when I went to work for you, it was pretty amazing. The stuff that you had me do. You're out looking for customers, and here I am, grinding electrodes and burning stuff like what's an electrode? I don't know what. I had no idea what the hell I'm doing.
Right.
And I winged it, and we kind of we got through it, and it was you learned a lot. I mean, you really learn a ton.
Just like a kid, if he were to come in here and work for you, right out of high school, you've got to let him fly. You can't manage this kid all day. You have to run deliveries and that. You need to know this kid can turn on the saw, not cut his fingers off, change an electrode. Yeah. Teach him. And
I think he had me doing more than I would put on somebody at that age, at that level. But I don't know. You must have saw something in me or
lucked
something.
Out with my first couple of apprentices, with you and Kyle.
Yeah.
And both sharp guys. And if you could do the work, why wouldn't I let you do it?
Yeah.
And in the end, Kyle ended up doing very well. You ended up doing very well. So I need to tell you, I'm very proud of my first apprentices, where they got in life, and really proud of you for everything you've accomplished with the shop and everything. It's really cool.
No,
very
you.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really appreciative of the opportunity. I mean, if I wouldn't have came to work for you, I mean, it's hard to say where I would have been. Like, I got to see your business go from just a couple machines, you and me starting out with nothing.
Scott would
basically
be the first to tell you too. You saw all the mistakes too. Some of the people I hired that caused problems, but when you're once you hire that first employee, everything changes. Even when I hired you, all of a sudden I've got payroll taxes. All of a sudden I've got insurance.
Somebody else to worry about.
Yep.
So that's why I've really tried to do it on my own as much as I could.
Do you have to sub much of your work out if you get behind? Not really? No. I mean, normally I can kind of keep up. I mean, my customer base is pretty small. I've really never done any advertising. Like, I've tried to advertise, but it never got me anywhere. Well, I mean, it's all word of mouth. You're going to get a nice advertisement out of this interview.
Oh, cool. Well, nice. Thank you.
And I'll make sure I put all your contact information on there.
Okay.
I mean, you don't even have a sign out front, right?
No, nobody even knows I'm here. Like,
I drove by it.
Yeah, trucks show up and they're like, we got a delivery for South Creek Tool, and they're like, is this that? And it's, yeah, it's here. Just hold on, I'll get the tractor. And they're just.
How did you get the power in here to run all this? Is that a big issue?
No, this is a standard 200 amp service for your house.
No three-phase?
Nope.
You have converters?
Yeah.
You run this whole shop off phase converters?
Yep.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I have 220 amp or 200 amp service, which is what you come into your normal residential house, and certain machines I have to run off of a rotary three-phase converter, and some of the machines I have converted to single-phase 220, and then certain machines can run off a static phase converter. So, and I can run every machine in the shop
All at once?
All at once, and it's no problem. Off 200 amps.
Well, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, because I don't think a lot, I mean, I know I was obsessed with power, but don't forget back in the machines I was buying, those giant hydrotels with 30 horsepower spindles and craziness in them. But
yeah, I mean, that's another thing too. You want to be careful. You know, you don't want to get some giant machine that has 50 horsepower motors and you're drawing a couple hundred amp. I mean, then you'll have problems. But like a lot of the CNC machines, the only time they hit like a high load is on spindle startup, and that's it. You know, the drives, all the other stuff uses very minimal amounts of electricity.
see one pedal here, there's another pedal there.
Yep.
And then you've got the Makino. Is that strictly dedicated to the electrodes?
No, that's hard milling, electrodes, and you know, if I have to do something special, I kind of do with that machine.
The one wire?
Yep, yeah, just the one. That's a newer Fanuc too. That's I think a 2016, so that's still new. Yep.
And then a CNC standard sinker then?
Yeah, CNC sinker EDM, Agimondo Star 20.
Both new or used?
Used. I got the Agimondo used. Yep.
How about that?
The wire?
Yeah.
Brand new.
Brand new?
Yep. Yeah, that was my first.
The Agi looks brand new.
Yeah, it's pretty clean.
How about the Makino?
The Makino is a 2003. I bought that used just a couple years ago. I got that used, and yeah, it was. I mean, a new one to replace that's like 300 grand.
Oh, Makino's a big name.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I mentioned to you earlier, this is a printless workplace for the most part.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if
you need to make a quick SketchUp or something.
Yeah, I do have a printer in that, but for the most part, yeah, if I can just transfer it from one computer to the next, then.
Well, it's interesting right there on your toolbox is a laptop, and that's what your master cam's on.
Yep.
And then how do you transfer it? Just what floppy?
Flash drives.
Flash
yeah,
drives?
the USB sticks. There's a company out there called CalMotion. They make USB drives for Fadals, Hawses. I also installed one on the Makino. It's stuff you can do yourself if you're a little handy. You just do some wiring, and they kind of give you the parameters that you need to set it up as, and yeah, you can load 20 meg 3D programs and just run for weeks on end. And
off of flash drive.
Yep, yeah, off a flash drive.
Now you got the Fadals, and I know when before I went out of business, and I used to drool over these Makinos. They were back then they were Cadillac machines.
Still are.
Is there a big difference?
There's a huge difference. Yeah.
First of all, I always thought their controls looked like they were from the flight deck of a B-1 bomber or something. They always look good.
Yeah, they're not super friendly controls.
Right.
I mean, if you're used to a regular Fanuc control, then you're okay. I wasn't. You know, when I got this machine, I was pretty nervous because I never ran anything with a Fanuc control. But from the Fadals, like that Fadal is a VMC 15XT. It's a linear weigh machine, only weighs like 4,500 pounds. It's pretty light duty. You know, you get really trying to hog on it. I mean, it squeals, doesn't really like it. And then this machine's the 4020. It's a box weigh machine, weighs 12,000 pounds. And when you start roughing on that, I mean, it'll take a cut. But on the flip side, that machine's not as accurate.
The thing with these used to be the look ahead. That you can go 100 miles an hour into a 1 degree wall and it knows to slow down and take back off. They had a lot of, back then we called it look ahead. I don't know if that's what they call it now.
Yeah, I mean, it does. The Makino will, if you program it for 500 inches a minute, it'll go, and then when it gets to the corner, it'll slow down.
Automatically.
Yeah, it'll slow down automatically. It knows not to override itself speed-wise. Now, I can run the same 3D program in the Makino as I do in the Fadal, and the Fadal will smoke it time-wise. The Fadal will be faster, but that's the problem. You look at the surface finish, and it's nowhere near what the Makino is. So, I mean, it'll look like a corn cob versus something that looks polished.
So this is you're probably very proud of this piece of work.
Oh, I love. Yeah, I love
mean,
it.
It looks.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty impressive piece of machinery. I mean, it's 15,000 pounds, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, it's not cheap. I mean, it wasn't cheap to buy. It's not cheap to get parts for. You know, any one of these Fadals, you can go buy parts pretty cheap. A lot of stuff you can go to your hardware store, and everything's in the manual. I mean, you can rip one of these apart, put it back together, set your pinch comps, your backlash. You can do all that stuff right off the manual. I mean, it's really easy to do if you can read. But this Makino, I mean, something, you know, the Makino acts up and it pops in a code. It's like, I'm calling the service guy. Like,
right.
I can't.
You ever have to bring the service guys in?
Yeah. There was an electrical storm one time. The machine was running. Thunderstorm came through, and there was some kind of module that shifted from low range to high range and wiped out this little electrical thing. And all it looked like it was like a circuit breaker, but it was $1,200.
And how long have you had that?
I got it in April. Was it April? Not this year, April last.
So just a few years.
Yeah, just 2 years or so. But other than that, I haven't had any problems with it. But
quite familiar with the programming now?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I program everything off Mastercam, and when it goes.
Are you saying that even when you're posting out from Mastercam, it was even difficult to that control?
No, just the using of the control as far as. Basically, I mean, I just use the machine as a G-code reader. I mean, I set a Z offset for the tool, a G54 per position, and what I post out in Mastercam kind of does the rest. I don't really do anything special in that control.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
I don't even download any programs to the control. Everything I do, I just DNC and drive it right off the flash drive.
There was a funny story you told me like a year ago, I think. We were just chatting on the phone or something. Or maybe it was when we ran into each other at an auction. But one of the big things we did at Kerner's was a lot of milling.
Yep.
Big milling, big toy molds, big die cast molds. And obviously, you know, like you said earlier, we turned you loose on hydrotels and decals and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you left me and you went to work for another place. We don't have to name that place. And you told me a story about you were really frustrated by how they were building their mold bases and they were taking too long. And,
oh yeah.
And
yeah.
You challenged them, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
tell that story.
Well, I could do. We had two Fadals at the time, both VMC 15 XTs, and the mold base guy. You know, the guy that would do the milling of the mold bases and squaring up inserts and stuff for heat treat, he would just kind of take forever. And you know, at first I thought, you know, I don't need to learn CNCs or any of that because I could go over on a Bridgeport, and the Bridgeport that I was using didn't even have a readout. So I had to run it off the dials, keep track of my backlash.
Right.
But I could manually build a mold base. I mean, we would buy the bought-in mold base, but
right.
I would still have to put in pockets, ejector pin holes.
Right.
Support pillar holes, you know, do whatever else needed done.
Didn't you tell them you could do it faster on Bridgeport than
yes.
they could do it on the CNC?
So there
they told you no, you couldn't.
So there was one time that we got two identical molds in, and I told them, I said, I want to do one mold base on a Bridgeport and let your CNC guy run two CNCs and I still beat him running on a manual Bridgeport with no readout.
And that has a lot to do with, again, the training.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
the confidence, the hog material.
Yeah, I mean the hogging material and just knowing, you know, the general machining, you know, stuff. Like, you know, you get these, you know, you can get kids nowadays that'll come out of college and
you know you're getting older now. You just
I know
kids nowadays.
Kids, yeah, I know. I'm 45, so you know, and they'll get out of school. I mean, they probably never ran a Bridgeport. You know, they're running a CNC. There's no backlash. You know, you can program it to do whatever you want. You know, but when we started, I mean, you know, we're using manual Bridgeports, and I mean that was
Kearney Trekker rotary head machine?
Kearney Trekker and that Gorton Trace Master contraption. And
but you had to feel the cutter.
Yeah, you had to feel and listen and to what the cutter's doing, and I still do that. I mean, you know, a lot of people nowadays, you know, they put in a programmed feed and speed. Well, that's what the book says. That's what they run it at. Me, I'm still a by the feel guy. By the sound, by the color of your chips. still, I mean, that's all stuff that we learned way back. And I learned it from old guys back then. I mean, you had guys that were...
I learned it from old guys when I was at Hanson.
Yeah, I mean, they were, Al Lasky and, guys like that.
There's a voice of the past.
Yeah.
So to close this up, got a guy watching this tonight, and he wants to start a shop. Any advice? What would you do? Don't quit your day job, is number one, right?
Yeah, don't get too in a hurry to quit your day job. Don't grow too quick. A lot of people, I don't know if it's just in this trade or just in life in general, they'll kind of sell you a dream about all this work you're going to get and how great things are going to be. Just kind of take all that with a grain of salt. Just take what you can handle comfortably. Don't get too ahead of yourself, and just let it grow. You can't plant a plant in the ground and expect your fruit overnight. I mean, it takes a while. And you see a lot of people that start a business and within a few years they're gone. They buy new equipment. They get all these promises from customers that they're going to get all this work, and and it doesn't happen, and they go under. And then another thing is take pride in the work you do. Like, even if you're doing stuff for a hack and whack shop that just doesn't care, like, try to make it look nice and stuff, because no matter what you do, you'll send out all this stuff that's just perfect all the time. Nobody will say, very rarely will people say, oh, that was a great job, that looks really nice.
That's what they paid for.
Yeah, that's what they're paying for. But the one time you mess up and you send something a little crappy, that's all you'll hear about.
And they'll never forget it.
And they don't forget it. Yeah, so it's
well, there's a big thing about your work looking professional when it shows up at a customer.
Yep.
I mean, the way you deburr something can make it look.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. Just how you. Yeah. Just rub your hand over the steel if you feel little edges and burrs, and just have it feeling right.
Well, I think besides everything else, I can't believe you're running this place off 200 amp single phase.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I can fire some machines up and put a voltmeter on it and show you it's not as bad as what it seems.
It's a beautiful, nice, clean, dry, bright place. I mean, I'd work here. I'll start tomorrow.
Well, thanks. Nice. If I had the work for you, that'd be pretty cool. At least I could give something back to you that you gave to me in the beginning.
Appreciate that. Well, congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
I know there are a lot of people who enjoy hearing your story, and I love how you managed to keep this a one-guy deal for the most part, and make a little profit, have a beautiful shop.
Yeah, I mean, you can,
and never take a vacation.
And yeah, that's the thing. That's another thing. If you're going to start your own shop and you like a lot of free time,
forget it.
It ain't happening. Yeah. It's you're always looking for the next job, or if work gets slow, you get a little nervous, and then you start making phone calls. Well, then all of a sudden the phone's blowing up, and now you got more work than you wanted, and
it's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah. If you gotta like to work if you want to do it.
Absolutely. And if you love what you do, though, that's half of that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this, full time for like 11 years, and rarely do I ever kind of, like, oh man, this is really getting to me. It's like
there's days.
There's days, but for the most part, it's like every day I love coming out here, doing what I want, how I want to do it. I mean, well,
there you go.
That's the main thing.
That's the answer. That's the secret ingredient. You gotta love what you do.
That's the big thing. Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Right. So there you have it. All of Scott's information will be at the end of this video. Give him a call or send him a quote. He's good. He's very good. And he was well trained. I'm Phil Kernert, the Tool and Die Guy, and we'll see you on the next edition of The Journeyman.